Alright, Natalia, today we're going to work on adding fractions, okay?
Okay.
Alright, so can you give me an example of two fractions that have the same denominator?
2/5 and 4/5.
2/5 and 4/5, good. So when we add fractions with the same denominator, it's pretty easy, right? I mean, you just add the numerator, kind of like these right here. So in this first problem, we have 3/7 and 2/7. So if we wanted to add these, we would just add which number, the denominator or the numerator?
Numerator.
Numerator, good. So what is 3 plus 2?
5.
5. So we would write 5. And then what do we do with the 7s right there?
We keep them the same.
Keep them the same. So our denominator in the answer would be
5/7.
7 would be the denominator, and our answer would be 5/7. Good job. So when we have fractions that have different denominators, it's a little trickier, okay? So we have a sheet here that gives us steps to adding fractions with different denominators, all right? So the first thing we do, we want to model the fractions. So we are going to use these counters to model the fractions. The second thing we do is we find multiples of the denominators. The third thing, determine the lowest common denominator. Fourth, we determine how many new sets of each fraction you need and make them. And the last thing is we combine the fraction sets, all right? You think we could do it?
Yes.
All right. So let's look at problem B here. What does the problem say? What is that first fraction?
1/4
Plus
2/3.
Good. So let's model these fractions first, all right? So the denominator tells us what? What does the denominator tell us?
The whole part.
So how many parts there are in the whole set, right? So how many parts are there in this whole set for this fraction?
4.
4, good. So we're going to count out 4 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the numerator, what does the numerator tell us?
How many parts out of the whole?
Good. How many parts out of the whole are represented? So how many parts out of 4 are we going to represent there?
1.
1, good. So we're going to turn that one to its red side. So we have 1/4. All right? So we have that one represented. Let's do the next fraction. What is that fraction?
2/3.
Good. And how many pieces are there in the whole set?
3.
3, good. So we're going to get 3, 1, 2, 3. And how many pieces are represented in that whole piece?
2.
2, good. So we're going to turn 2 of them over to the red side. So now we have 2/3, right? Good. All right, so what's the next thing we do?
Find multiples of the denominators.
Find multiples of the denominators. Good. So let's start with the first fraction. What's the denominator in that fraction?
4.
4, good. So we're going to draw a 4 in our chart here. And when we're finding multiples, you can think of it as kind of multiplying. You know, multiplying, kind of sounds the same. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to find the first 5 multiples of 4, okay? So what is 4 times 1?
4.
Good. What is 4 times 2?
8.
8. What's 4 times 3?
12.
12. Good. What is 4 times 4?
16.
Good. And what is 4 times 5?
20.
Good. And now let's work with the other denominator. What's our denominator for 2/3?
3.
3. Good. So we're going to do the same thing. Find the multiples for 3. So what is 3 times 1?
3.
3. Good. 3 times 2?
6.
3 times 3?
9.
Good. 3 times 4?
12.
12. Good. And 3 times 5?
15.
Awesome. Good job. All right. So what's the next thing after we have found the multiples?
Determine the lowest common denominator.
Good. So how do you think we do that?
We look at the chart and we try to see which ones have the same number.
Good. So we look for the first number that is the same for both rows, right? All right. So what number do both of these rows have in common?
12.
12. Good job. So let's circle those 12s. All right. And now, after we have found the lowest common denominator, what's the fourth step?
We determine how many new sets of each fraction you need to make them.
Good. So to do that, we're going to see how many times we had to multiply to get the lowest common denominator, okay? So with 4, we had to multiply 1, 2, 3 times to get the 12, all right? How many times do we have to multiply with 3?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 times, good. So how many sets of 1/4 are we going to have?
12. Make 3.
3. Good. We're going to have 3 sets of 1/4. So let's make those 3 sets. We already have 1, so how many new sets do we need?
3.
So we already have 1. How many more do we need?
2 more.
2 more. Good. So can you help me with this? So how many am I going to put out here?
2 more sets.
2 more sets. Good. 2, 3, 4. There's another, and we need 1 more set. Good. So we have 3 sets. Alright, and how many times do we have to multiply the 3 to get the 12?
4.
4 times. So how many total sets are we going to need?
4.
4 sets. We already have 1. How many more sets do we need?
3.
Good. Can you make 3 more sets of that? Awesome. Good job. Alright. So now the numbers that we circled on our chart represent the new denominator, okay? So that's going to be how many pieces we have in each set, alright?
Okay.
So we need to make sure that we have 12 in each of our sets. 12 total pieces, okay? So let's count the counters and see, make sure we have 12, alright? So count with me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good, we have 12 there. Let's make sure we have 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good job. So what is the last thing that we do after we made all those new sets? We combine the fraction sets.
Good, so we're going to combine the fraction sets into rows of 12, alright? So we're going to start with the red ones and see how far we get. So count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And do we need, is that enough? Do we need one more? We need one more?
No.
We have 11, but we need 12, right? So we need to put one more, right? It's going to be a yellow one because it's just going to be kind of a placeholder, okay? Alright, so we're going to put the other yellow ones down there too, but they're going to just be placeholders too.
Okay.
Alright. So when we combine the sets, our answer is going to be how many red ones we have in our new sets, okay? Alright, so how many do we have up here? How many red?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And how many total are there?
12.
12, so 11 out of 12. Good, so 1/4 plus 2/3 equals
11 twelfths.
11 twelfths. Awesome, good job.